Well, when he was just 12 years old, Zach Hunter read a book about Harriet Tubman. He was appalled as he learned about slavery in America and stunned when he learned that slavery was still going on in the world today. So Zach launched a campaign to end human trafficking. Loose Change to Loosen Chains has since raised nearly $1 million. And now, instead of just ending slavery, Zach's working on restoring something else.
Zach Hunter's been called a modern-day hero by CNN because of his work rescuing slaves from human trafficking. He started his efforts a decade ago at age 12. Now it's gone global. Today, Zach continues that work along with a new cause that can affect every home and family in the nation.
Well, Zach Hunter's with us now. Zach, welcome to the 700 Club.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here.
Well, you have, yes, please. You have a new focus that you've begun to talk about, write about. Slavery was a huge issue, and you've made a huge impact with that. I think a lot of people have a heart for that. But now you've written a book called Chivalry, The Quest for a Personal Code of Honor in an Unjust World.
Yes,
now, how did you go from slavery to chivalry?
Well, this is my fourth book. So my first book was about freeing people from modern day slavery. I started the campaign you were talking about when I was 12. So that was 9 years ago. Which makes me feel really old that it happened 9 years ago. But
4 books in 9 years isn't bad, Zach.
It's not a bad average per year. But I had basically gone through a really tough period of my own life, and I was seeing this huge inconsistency between my passion for changing the world, my compassion for people who lived halfway around the world and for the poor and the oppressed, which is very biblical. I was seeing an inconsistency between that and how I was treating my family and friends. And I realized it wasn't just me, My entire generation is really known now for caring about social justice issues and for caring about helping the poor. And even for this issue of human trafficking and modern day slavery, that there's sort of a revival of the term abolitionist nowadays. Yet there are all these people, I'm hearing from parents and from students that there's just so much less civility, so much less kindness in the world today, it seems. And I realized I had to do something about it. So that's what this book was. This book was my personal journey to trying to become a kinder person.
Talk about how you define chivalry. You're really talking about a person's character, right? Not about opening doors for women or letting someone go through a door first, although that's very gentlemanly.
Absolutely.
But this is not gender-based. This is everyone.
Of course, definitely. I mean, that is our cultural concept of chivalry is definitely very gender-based. It's male to female, as opposed to sort of a comprehensive idea or standard for ourselves and for how we should treat other people. So my definition of chivalry is based off of 10 concepts I took from a code of the knights that I found doing some research. And these are things like, I will never attack from behind, I will respect life and freedom, I will exhibit self-control and selflessness. So great ideas, but if it's just a list of rules and if it only applies to one gender, it's not that meaningful. It's a very narrow view.
Talk about how you found that. I mean, when you decided this was an issue for you personally, and then you saw that it really, was beyond you, that it was really the culture at the moment. How did you get to the Knight's Code from there?
Absolutely. I've always loved stories of heroes, and I've always loved mythology and legends and everything. I'm a little bit of a nerd in that respect. So I wanted to know, I've learned in recent history about, or recently about the history of the Crusades and everything, and sort of this bad taste that Christianity has left in a lot of people's mouths due to historical wrongs that have been committed by people that say they share our faith, So I wanted to know, were all the knights really bad, or was there some basis that they start off right and then go wrong? And it looked like that might have been the case. They had these great ideas, and I thought, if these were more than rules, if these were standards and principles that we believed, that we bought into wholeheartedly, and we let them change us, the culture would be completely different. We could change the culture by changing ourselves first.
Well, within people of faith, they're supposed to be the standards and the rules, but we've lost some of that in the body of Christ as well. You've taken these standards that you found in the Knight's Code, and you've sort of juxtaposed them to the teachings of Jesus. talk about some of the, each chapter deals with one of these codes. Talk about some of the ones that really hit you the hardest, struck you the most, and how they are juxtaposed.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that the chapter titled "I Will Not Fear Evil" is probably one of the most important ones to me. First, I talk about how fear. I mean, I've been a very fearful person throughout my life, and still struggle with that to some extent. And when you look in the Bible, you see that perfect love casts out all fear, you know? And so that was the first thing, that perfect love casts out all fear, and that God is love. And that was just the basis for that chapter. And then I tried to talk about what evil is, because a lot of us are willing to use the word evil or the word demonic even to talk about things that we don't understand, or about people who interpret the Bible a little bit differently, which is harmful ultimately to building the kingdom, you know? So I talk about that a little bit, and about being understanding of other people who still have the same view of Jesus that we do, but interpret things a little bit differently sometimes. So
It's really, I think, such a message for people today, because there is a sense of civility missing, certainly, in our culture, but character as well. How do you hope to, you had a plan with the loose change for to loosen chains. How do you feel you can impact your generation and all of us really with this message?
Yeah, I think through the arts and through culture mostly. I mean, I was talking about this. We were talking about this back in the green room. Miss Ivory was talking about that with me. She works here, and talking about how things have to change in the media and in culture, and we need to be the most creative people. I think in that same vein, Christians need to be the most compassionate, the most patient, the kindest, the most understanding, and often we're not, you know? That's not how we're represented.
And maybe the most reflective of our own need to change things in our lives. Well, it's a wonderful book. I mean, this is a book everybody should read. Every parent should be sure that their children read it, but it's really for all of us as parents as well. It's called Chivalry, and it's available in stores nationwide. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
For your message.
It was an honor.